there, YouTube? I'm back again for another Kickstarter critique where I take a look at a different tabletop games project every weekday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and give my honest thoughts on how that Kickstarter is being ran. And today, I'm very excited to check out the fourth most popular project, not just on games, but on all of Kickstarter, that is Blazon, a card drafting, puzzly tableau builder game set in this world of medieval ... by Chad Elkins. This has raised $27,000, 182% funded, so it's already funded, doing well. I will say, the main image, I think they were going, I get it, I'm intrigued, I see the shapes of the boards, and that does intrigue me, but I'd like to see a little bit more information, the player count, the time length, the age, potentially the price if it's a low price point, things like that, but I will say, give them kudos for mentioning card drafting, tableau builder, and puzzly. I think mentioning your mechanisms always a good thing because I love tableau games, I love card drafting games, and I'm immediately more interested in this game. And some companies would just choose not to list that. And I just always think it's doing a disservice to your customers and to yourself. Spotlight what you are. And right now I will say, I like it. I immediately know roughly the size of the box. It's a relatively thin box, not taking up too much shelf space. A great one to throw into a bag if I'm going somewhere. Like the size of the box and like the fact that that's easily seen. And now as I zoom in, I'm starting to really get a little bit more of a gander at how nice those components were, because when I was first looking at it, I couldn't really tell because it's so zoomed out. But yeah, nice looking components. As always, when you go to the video, I'm thinking three things. Do I want it? Can you do it? How much is it? Let's go.
In the age of antiquity, warriors...
So, 25th Centure Games, if you do not know, they have quite a few games out. My personal favorite is Kingswood. I think it's one of the best solo children's games out there, period. Children's and family games out there. My son absolutely adores that game. Also, Curmudgeon. If you like party games, if you like trash talking party games, check them out. But what I'm saying here is, can you do it? Yes. I already feel comfortable. I know the company. I know they put out games before. So that's on a good start right there.
Often decorated their shields with patterns and mythical creatures, a process that over time became known as the art and science of heraldry. In Blazon, you act as a herald, designing your own heraldic shield to advance your craft.
So that's cool. That's cool. You as a kid have probably at some point in your life made a shield of some sort and decorated. Maybe you don't even remember it. Maybe you're like 5, 6, 7 years old. That's just a cool thing to do. And I did. I actually mentioned it from that main image. I was intrigued by the shapes of the board and the fact that I'm making a shield. That's a cool theme, and I kind of got an idea of it. Honestly, you said tableau building, but maybe mentioning that it's a shield creating game. So I don't know if you could fit that in there, but I will say, so far they've got me. I'm intrigued. I like what they're showing me so far.
Draw tincture and device cards to acquire the necessary elements to tell your story. Spend your prestige to blazon your shield, while obeying the traditions and laws of the rules of heraldry.
Azul-style rules.
Special actions will aid in your journey.
At least that's what I'm getting. It's like, oh, you can't have this color next to this color next to this row next to whatever. So I think they're just about the right pace here. I feel like they're explaining the rules, but they're not going so in-depth into the weeds that I'm zoning out. I think that was really good. So far, I'm liking this video.
To earn rewards as your skills progress.
Okay.
Gain notoriety and prestige among your peers by
And I like how they did this. I think they did a good shot of showing me that the side of the boards are going to be useful as they'll be holding the cubes. This is really well done because this isn't the actual components. This is all 3D rendered, I do believe. But I think they did a great job with this so far. I wonder if this is like a tabletop simulator or something like that.
Achieving distinction objectives. Customize wise.
And I see some nice little iconography things that I just like seeing as a gamer. I know specifically this is for 4 players. I see a lot of those little touches here, and I like that.
Customize wisely and mark your place in history.
I still don't know how to pronounce the name of the game. I'd like to know. Okay. It was short, sweet, concise, got to the point exactly what the game was. It wasn't any big thrills, but I don't think it needed to be. Not every project does. But at the same time, I have an idea of how to play the game. I still would like to know more about learning how to play the game, but I think overall, I think that was a really well-done video. I think that's part of the reason why it's doing so well, where a lot of other Kickstarter campaigns, especially in December and January, have not done so well. And I think that video, part of the reason why, I think that was a really solid video right there. So, 25th Century Games, as I mentioned, 12 created, 421 backed. You see this, you're like, all right, a member of the Kickstarter community, one of those companies that might not be around if it wasn't for Kickstarter. And let's be honest, I feel like as a whole, as a hobby, we just want to support companies like that. Because that's cool. That is such a cool concept. That with the business models that were available in the 80s, in the 90s, these companies would not exist. And if you go back to those periods of time, there were substantially less board games that were released. And as much as people want to bag on Kickstarter, and Kickstarter has a lot of bad habits, and Kickstarter has just added a lot of bad things to board games, things that I think are just not overall good habits for board games. But the amount that it's added good, I still think is just massively overwhelming. And when I see a company like this, it just gets me excited because, it probably wouldn't have been possible without Kickstarter. And so, yeah, Space Explorer, great game. Kingswood right there. Go get yourself the Deluxe Edition. They got a lot of games, but we do always want to make sure we don't have a bunch of games outstanding and pending, because I've gotten burned on this a couple times for not doing enough research. So let's just see how many games they have out. Pledge Manager Time pre-production update. So that one is not out yet. New 25th Century for Gartenbow. That's a wrap. Check in, let everyone know I received word today. Our Canadian fulfillment is complete. So yeah, completely shipped out. Good to go. So it looks like we have one. We'll check one more. Winner, chicken dinner. Looks like we have one project outstanding. So we'll have 2 projects pending. Project included. Thank you. Awesome. So great. Can you do it? I already felt comfortable, but I still like to do that little bit of research. Can you do it? Big old check mark. Feel comfortable with that. Do I want it? Yeah, tableau building, deck building. Now, I still need to know the player count, the time link, the age. I still need to know the price, a lot of other things. Hopefully, we don't beat around the bush and we show me that. I know you're going to show it to me. There it is. 30 to 60 minutes, 1 to 4. Okay, so there's a solo variant here, and that's why I think it's so important to mention that thing from the offset. You immediately are going to intrigue an entire group of people by putting that 1 to 4 players on the marquee instead of buried in the page. And I always just think that's a good thing to spotlight right there. And then the other thing is, I see 1 to 4 players. Nobody's going to be like, oh, I'm not interested in this game because it also plays solo. It's just like, oh, cool. That's a nice little perk for the people that want to do it. Whereas, a good chunk of the people will never do it. But still, you got to mention, I think. 30 to 60 minutes, we're getting a lighter weight game. Awesome. The widespread use of armorial bearings in the Middle Ages gave rise to a new occupation of herald. These heralds had the responsibility of learning and maintaining the rules and protocols governing the design and creation of blazoning of arms. Objectives, you got to do your thing. How to play. Gather your materials. So what do I want right now? I want the price. That's really what I want to get down to business with. I thought the video was well enough done, and honestly, if there's a solid price, I'd probably just be like, all right, let's do it. I want to see how to play video as well. Hopefully that's here. So we got how to play. Got stuff. Put your things on there. I got all this. This is kind of just regurgitating what you did in the video a little bit here. Learn to play with Tantrum House. Is this an actual learn to play?
Thanks for joining.
Overview. I don't like that. I don't. Yeah, that's it. Well, here's what I say. I feel like if it's a how to play, most people are just going to put how to play. But when you say anything else, preview, overview, gameplay, I was just like, I don't know, because my worst fear, and I think the worst videos on the board game internet, the absolute worst, are how to play videos that don't actually teach you all the rules to the game. I think those are just pox to those videos. And if I have been part of those videos, I do apologize. But because at that point, it's like you've sat through the whole video, but now you also have to read the rules as well. And it's like, what's the point? So if that is a full how to play, cool. And if not, hopefully there is a how to play. But just when you call it an overview instead of a how to play, then I'm like, is it? What is it? Pledge levels. Okay, so we are getting right down to it. Pledge levels, $35. I think that's a great price point. I think, honestly, maybe spotlight at the door. I don't think that's a bad price point at all. Box. It looks a little bit thicker in this picture than before, but still, it doesn't look like it's a thick game in any way, shape, or form. I see some components. I see a bag. Ooh, a bag in there. Cool. Is that like a mesh bag? Neato. $35, so I think is a great price. And I think a well-done video, $35. I don't think most people are going to second-guess this. So now we have, the Deluxe Edition. So there will be a standard edition for the peasants, for the people who buy this 6 years from now in a game store. Or then there's going to be these people, the Kickstarter people. The overwhelming majority of the people, most likely, the $50 price level. And then that's it. So it is very clean, very clear. So right now, I'm not quite sold on the $50 level. And that's because I don't know what the difference is. Hopefully it includes the Deluxe Edition, backer bonuses. I think maybe you might want to mention that before we get into this. And I'll be very interested to see if it impacts this area over here. Because I think, and I check, I do Kickstarter critiques all the time. I've done like over 300 in like the last year. Overwhelming, the majority of the time, the most popular pledge level is the gameplay all-in whale. The one where you get everything. The big expensive one. And so when I see a project where it's not that way, that makes me pause and say, what exactly did they do that isn't working? Because ideally, they want you to buy the expensive one. Duh. I mean, they do. So let's see. Which one is the most popular? So we have $5, Access Pledge Major, 46 people. It's a decent chunk. 17 of the retailer pledge. Nobody wants that. And then 119 regular edition. So 100. Okay. Reviews. I'm very impressed. A challenging and compelling puzzle. Every move is late with consequences. We really enjoyed this. And it takes you to the video. Okay. Don't mind that. Very impressed and challenged and compelling puzzle. So really they're spotlighting the puzzle aspect of the game here. I don't think it's a great quote, but it's Richard moves the needle, and it's mentioning the fact that it's a big puzzle aspect in the game. And if you're a fan of puzzly style games, I think that is a solid quote. As long as you're mentioning at least one thing in the game, I think a quote is good. This game will definitely see some time on my table. Easy to learn and teach. That's what I love to hear. But requires game-changing strategy. There is no one best way to play this game. Rock solid quote. Blazon is, I just burnt myself with this tea. Blazon is, it's so hot. Blazon is a quick and simple game to learn, but jam-packed with wonderfully juicy decisions. Who knew medieval heraldry could be fun? Juicy decisions. Okay. What am I looking for here? What am I looking? I want to know. So right now, as a consumer, what do I want? I want to know why I'm paying you $15 extra. Like, that's the thing. Quotes are great. Quotes are great at this point, but why am I paying you $15 extra? Why do I want the Deluxe Edition? I don't know. Also, shipping. Places, so we got a bunch of quotes. Instagram, this is overwhelming me. This is great. I love seeing this, but I would love to know why I should pay you $15 extra first. 25th keeps knocking it out of the park. Stuff, things, lots of it. Play it now. Click it here. Tabletop Simulator. Spectacular. Read the rules. Awesome. What? That's not read the rules. This is Board Game Geek. Is this supposed to be read the rules? Click here. Board Game Geek. Why are you sending me here? Are the rules in here? You couldn't just give me the extra. So you're making me. And if I'm not on Board Game Geek, if I don't have a Board Game Geek, I can't even access this. Now, granted, most of the time people will, but I just, typically when you click on this, it sends you to the rules, not to the page. It just seems like it's an interesting decision. Inside the box, I don't like this decision. I don't. I think it's just you make it easier for your customers. Inside the box, 35. So now we're going in-depth on the components. Cool. 40 element cards, 80 device, 5 achievement animal tokens, 20 herald tokens, 4 player boards, shield board, centerpiece board, 25 distinction, 45. Okay. And once again, I'm not really beating the bush too hard on the price, because it's under MSRP and it looks like a decent chunk of a game. I know it's a smaller box game. So $35, I think that's reasonable. $50. This, okay, components enlarged to show detail. I think there's supposed to be a D there. Not sure. Components enlarged. Or enlarged. Yeah, I think it's a D. 4 upgraded wooden abatement markers. Upgraded foil accents on the game box. Whatevs. 20 upgraded. And these were the components that you kind of showcased in that main image as well. 5 acrylic. So the $15 difference is wood. Is that it? Okay. I'm kind of surprised that one is doing so well. I guess it's still $50. It's not that big of a difference. You typically, when you get on a Kickstarter, a lot of times nowadays you're used to spending $150. So $50, I don't think people bat an eyelash. It's just, I think this could have been displayed as a little bit sexier. Maybe that's it. Spread it out. I don't know. Also, these, in particular, this pile, I can barely, what is it? What are these things? What am I looking at? Oh, okay. Now I see it. It's right there. It is it's the ink blotter. That's what that is. Okay, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just be spread out a little bit. So just clustered up. 5 acrylic screen printed achievement, animal tokens, whatevs. Backer bonus. So cool. And you are getting a lot of wood there. I think it's just the fact that this is in such a congested pile, but Here. Backer bonuses. As thanks for supporting the campaign, all backers will also receive these bonus items with their pledge. A cloth bag, 24 card. Oh, holy crap. That's what I care about. The cloth bag, cool, whatever. But 24 card embellishment mini expansion. So this is an expansion exclusive to Kickstarter backers. And I'm finding out about it 16 minutes into the campaign. I think this is something that maybe we go higher with here. You know, just backing anything at all gets you the Blazon. Because this is an expansion. 24 card expansion. Like, that is a massive expansion. Especially if we go back to the components in the game, which is what? How many components was it? I don't think it was more than like 100 cards, was it? Let's go back and double check. Where was it? Where is the stupid thing? There it is. 40. So it's 120 cards. Yeah, that is a... Oh, and then 25 here, so 145. So that's a big chunk. 1/7 of the game. And you're getting an expansion that's 1/7 the size of the original game. That's huge. I think that spotlighted a little bit more. That's really awesome. This is... Because I assume this is going to be an extra expansion that people are able to buy after the fact at conventions and on the websites and the Amazons or whatever. And I don't feel like this is mentioned... I feel like this is really buried, honestly, here. I think this is something that needs to go way, way higher. As is this. Like, why am I paying the $50 extra? So then we got add-ons. The thick animal tokens. What are these? Oh, these are metal or something? Zinc alloy. Interesting. I wonder... I wonder how... I wish it would be so interesting to see how many add-ons get purchased of every single thing. If we could actually see that, that would be so cool. I can't imagine this is very popular. Like, because think about it. The game itself is 50, and this is 30. Like, and it's completely 100% unnecessary. And it's already an upgraded component. Like, it's like, oh, hey, look, upgraded components. It's like, oh, no, that component sucks. You want this component. This is a weird add-on. I mean, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool-looking add-on. But it's just, that's a really hard swallow. When the regular price of the game is $35, and you're asking $30 for a cosmetic upgrade. We had some questions about size of the deluxe components. To give you a sense of perspective, here are the deluxe animal and herald tokens next to 2 cards in the game. The one on the left is a standard. Oh, awesome. Oh, wow. Okay. And now that $15 price point I was talking about seems better. 20 of these, 5 of these are big. Those are big honking pieces of wood. And so yeah, I think this needs to be peppered. I feel like this section and this section need to be peppered in with that first price point and just all interweaved together. Because ideally when you get to that $35.50, you want to make that $35 one look like a joke. Nobody's ever want to buy. Everybody here should be buying the 50. So we got playthroughs. Cool. Why bad? And that's shipping. What I was saying is I don't think the price is good or bad. By the way, my internet just went out. Apologies. I don't think the price is particularly good or particularly bad, $13. Because it looks like this is something that you can ship at a USPS, like flat rate padded shipping envelope potentially. But honestly, now that I look at this box again, they do have a couple boxes that I think are the same size. And I think that's a different size than the one that we saw in the box, in the video, which is weird. But either way, I don't think the shipping is particularly bad or good. I mean, it's here. I would like to see it higher, but $13. So now we're looking at a price point of, so let's go check this out, $48 and then $63 to $63. That's MSRP pretty much. I don't bat an eye at that. You know, it's a 2 to 4 player game, 1 to 4 player game. Looks like it has a good chunk of game in here. Okay. Let's check out the FAQ, the updates, the comments. Get out of here. Does this game have solo mode? Yeah, it's 1 to 4 players. You didn't really spotlight that. Yeah, so we created the prototypes and finished the rule booklet draft for the campaign. We were still in playtesting mode on a solo option. At that time, we were not 100% sure we were comfortable with it. The good news is the solo mode is working, and we'll be moving forward with it in the game. There's still some final tweaks to balancing out the distinction card, but the overflow and concept we are happy with. The solo mode will play very similar to the multiplayer experience. You'll need to complete objectives. Yada, yada, yada. So they're talking about the solo mode a little bit here. I don't know if that's a turn on or turn off to some people, saying, hey, it's not quite ready, but we'll have it up to shape by the time it gets to you. And it's just like, it doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement. Like, if I am a solo-only gamer and I see that, I'm like, yeah, I think I'll go somewhere else. Whereas if you just didn't mention that, you say, oh, we'll have more information on the solo game later, I almost feel like the transparency there could potentially be a double-edged sword. But then at the same time, I always recommend transparency on Kickstarter because it just helps you in the back end so much. So, I don't know, I guess that's a your mileage may vary kind of thing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you saw the trailer, let me know what you think about that. It's weird. Very excited to have the first update on this campaign be the one where I get to say we are making a game on behalf of everyone involved in this project behind the scenes. Ooh, I see 12 comments. I'm going to predict that there is a question in here because that number is you might be like, oh, it's not a huge number, but it is when you factor in there's 600. It's better than most that I see. So I'm going to predict there's a question in here. If you have any questions at all during the campaign, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments or direct message me. So right now they're prompting you to post like that. No matter the version of the game, Standard Deluxe will be beautifully constructed, made with high-quality components. If you've seen our other games, we certainly did not go light on the quality. This will be no exception. I'll keep checking in to give you updates on things we have going on that you can tune in to ask questions, watch live streams, etc. The first one will be a live playthrough by Steph Hodge and Michael Aldrich on Twitch this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Then on so this is great, and they're clickable. Creator Spotlight. We are fortunate to have so many wonderful content creators involved in this project. I want to spotlight them in our updates so you might get to know some new channels that you may not be aware of. First up is the folks on the One Board family. This is great. This makes you look really good as well. Here's their specific. I think this is actually a really cool idea here. So each update kind of spotlighting maybe one of the different videos, because there was a delve, I think that's the word, delve of videos there in the review section. So this is interesting. I like this. If you've been involved in some of their campaigns, I like to go a little segment at the end of each game update talking about either the educational or historical aspects of our game. For example, during Space Explorers, to provide additional photos and content about the, ooh, cool. Thanks for again. Until next time. Congratulations. Looks like not only a great game, but a fun and interesting campaign as well. Me thinks this game will go down smoothly with my medieval music playlist and some good Belgian brown ale. I appreciate the history. Keep it coming. Will there be an explanation of heraldry and the rules for us educated persons? Congratulations. So glad. Marvelous news, Chad. Congratulations. You mentioned the products. Do you have a link to your website? So this is great. This looks like a company that's starting to build some brand loyalty here. You know, which is what you want. That's absolutely what you want. And you treat your backers here well. So he didn't actually ask a question. He said he solicited questions, but these are just people who are excited. This is just that first update. Hey, I'm excited for this project. I'm excited to see you succeed one. And good. Awesome. That being said, I want to go... so I'm very curious to see where this is going to be on the popularity chart starting next week. It's starting 2 weeks. Oh, but this is a shorter campaign, though. 13 days left to go. So they only did 2 weeks, which I think is a good idea. Because quite honestly, if this were a 28-day campaign, I'm saying to myself right now, why would I come back to this? After I give you my money, I see absolutely zero reason why I would come back to the Kickstarter campaign. There's no updates. Well, there is updates. There's no daily unlocks. There's no stretch goals, which, whatever. Not saying they have to be there, but typically you want a reason for people to come back to your Kickstarter. And I don't know if spotlighting a different... the history, I guess the history actually is cool. The history is one way to do it. But that's one thing I do notice here. So I'll be very interested to see where this one charts in the popularity chart in the 14 days as it goes by. I like Space Race, and the Space Race is great. And the theme of this game seems interesting, so I backed. However, I do have a request. Please try to provide at least a draft of the solo rules before the campaign ends. I'm backing now because the FAQ says they support solo play, even though the current draft rule booklet does not. I would like to see something a little more concrete, though, and draft rules could help me use... correction, Space Explorer Space is another game. Yeah, Space Explorer. Yeah. So that's kind of someone who's like, hey, I want a little bit more information on the solo at the front. And, okay. I think Dice Terrible will want to pick this up at some point to preview it. This looks like a theme they would really appeal to some of them. I hope they show this game next time they preview Kickstarter. I'm going to mention it on YouTube Conversation. Works over. Hey, Tej, Mark Street has a preview for that. Wonderful. Cool. And what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing him popping in, churning this is the expression, getting into the comments, responding to other people's comments, just making it a welcoming environment, which is something you want to see here. So, at the end of the day, what's my final grade for Blazon? I thought the video was very well done. I thought it left me wanting more. It got me interested in the game. It made me say, all right, I'm intrigued. They didn't take too long to... Actually, they kind of did. So do I want it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. Don't absolutely feel comfortable with both of those. It looks like a cool game. How much is it? That's where things get interesting. The shopping section was not really that pleasant. Because remember, I get here and I'm like, why would I pay 15 extra bucks? Like, you don't really tell me much about why I paid 15 extra bucks, and then we just get blasted with, oh my gosh, so much of these. And then we get into the full components, And then the shipping is buried all the way down at the bottom. I don't think the shipping's great. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's great. So shipping, yeah, but still at the end of the day, I mean, the most money you're going to be spending here, most likely $63, unless you're going to go, buck wild and get the 30-pound metal thingamabobbers. So at the end of the day, I don't think the price is that terrible at all. I mean, it looks, well, actually, $63 for that style game, it's a bit much, but it's the Deluxe Edition. Regularly, it's $48, which it is what it is. I don't think the price is great. I don't think the price is bad. I think it's about on par, just like I did with the shipping. So at the end of the day, I think my final grade for this one is a B. I thought it's a really good Kickstarter campaign. Maybe B+. B+, maybe? There was some confusion with the size of the box. I swear, in the video, one of the sizes of the box looks smaller. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, look, that box right there. In this 3D mock-up, that is definitely a thinner box than they wanted to show. So you know what? I'm going to stick with my B. Because that's the second damn day in a row where I had some sort of weird box confusion. Hi. Got in late, but how does the gameplay support solo? I didn't see it. They are still working on that. Hard to sell the solo crowd for sure. And yeah, that's one thing that I mentioned. Like, it would almost... I don't know if it'd be better or worse. Well, I think it's better that you at least acknowledge it. But it's like, maybe... I don't know. How do you deal with that sort of solo situation if you were in 25th Century's position? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below, as I love to go on Kickstarter critique journeys, and I want you to come with me next time. Also, I do apologize for the internet connection issues. It happens. Bye-bye.